The Wild West. It's more than just the gunfights we see in movies. The truth is far grittier and more astonishing. Today, we'll explore incredibly rare photos that reveal a Wild West never seen before. If you're ready, don't forget to subscribe and share this video to discover the most authentic stories of history with your friends. Now, let's begin. This is a group of Paiute people near Cedar, Utah, documented by photographer John K. Hillers in 1872 during the John Wesley Powell expedition. The photograph is an important historical document, showing that Paiute attire during this period was a combination of native elements, like woven blankets, and Western manufactured goods like coats and hats. This reflects the cultural interactions and lifestyle changes they faced due to the westward expansion of the United States in the late 19th century. In 1867, photographer Timothy H. O'Sullivan documented this image of the Geological Survey team led by Clarence King in Oriana, Nevada. Behind them are the Trinity Smelting Works, where silver ore was processed. The photograph highlights the intersection between science, tasked with surveying for the Transcontinental Railroad, and the booming mining industry of the American West at the time. In 1871, photographer Timothy O'Sullivan took this picture in Black Canyon, Arizona, during the Wheeler survey. Using a long exposure technique, the surface of the Colorado River becomes mirror still. The expedition's boat, the Picture, which struggled to travel upstream, now serves as a scale for the immense size of the canyon they were tasked with mapping. In 1867, photographer Timothy O'Sullivan documented these tufa formations at Pyramid Lake, Nevada, as part of the 40th Parallel Geological Survey. These limestone structures were formed entirely underwater, exposed only as the ancient Lake Lahontan receded over millennia. O'Sullivan's photograph thus served not just as art, but as a key geological document recording a unique landscape of the American West. Photographer William Henry Jackson took this photograph in 1872 during the Hayden survey. It shows the rock formations near the town of Green River, Wyoming, a key division point on the Union Pacific Railroad. The layers belong to the Green River Formation, a world-renowned fossil site. Jackson's photo documented the direct link between geology and America's westward expansion. In 1873, photographer Timothy O'Sullivan took this picture in Canyon de Chelly, Arizona, during the Wheeler survey. This location is not a wilderness, but the ancestral homeland of the Navajo, Dene people, inhabited for thousands of years. The photograph was taken just a few years after the Navajo were permitted to return from their forced exile, known as the Long Walk. It therefore documents a landscape of immense historical and cultural significance. In 1873, photographer Timothy O'Sullivan documented the old mission church at Zuni Pueblo, New Mexico. This Spanish mission was built in the 17th century and destroyed during the 1680 Pueblo Revolt before being rebuilt. By the time O'Sullivan took this photograph, the church had fallen into disrepair, a colonial ruin standing within an ancient indigenous community. This group portrait was taken in 1871, after the Wheeler survey completed its arduous journey up Black Canyon. It includes the photographer Timothy O'Sullivan standing fourth from the left. The photo was made at Diamond Creek, Arizona, alongside Native Americans, likely of the Wallapai tribe. They served as indispensable guides, helping the expedition navigate the harsh terrain. In 1872, photographer John K. Hillers took this picture during John Wesley Powell's second Colorado River expedition. The scene is the Gate of Lodore, the entrance to a rugged canyon on the Green River in Colorado. The figure on the ledge provides a sense of scale for the immense landscape. This photograph is a key document of the scientific exploration of one of America's last remote regions. In 1874, photographer Timothy O'Sullivan captured the magnificent Shoshone Falls in Idaho. Often nicknamed the Niagara of the West, these falls are actually taller than Niagara. The photograph is a vital historical document, showing the Snake River's powerful, natural flow, before dams and irrigation projects of the 20th century permanently altered the river. In 1874, photographer Timothy O'Sullivan captured the magnificent Shoshone Falls in Idaho. Often nicknamed the Niagara of the West, these falls are actually taller than Niagara. The photograph is a vital historical document, showing the Snake River's powerful, natural flow, before dams and irrigation projects of the 20th century permanently altered the river. In 1867, Timothy O'Sullivan photographed his own mobile darkroom wagon in the Carson Desert, Nevada. The era's wet plate technique required glass plates to be prepared and developed on site. This vehicle, a converted ambulance, allowed O'Sullivan to work in the harsh conditions. The photograph is a unique document of the immense challenges facing 19th century expeditionary photographers. In 1867, photographer Timothy O'Sullivan captured the mining town of Gold Hill, Nevada. This was the heart of the Comstock lode, one of the largest silver discoveries in U.S. history. The photograph shows not lone prospectors, but an industrialized landscape of headframes, trestles, and mills. It documents a boomtown built entirely on the immense wealth being extracted from deep underground. In 1871, Timothy O'Sullivan photographed this wooden incline railway at the Illinois mine in Nevada as part of the Wheeler survey. The structure was a clever counterbalance system. The weight of a full descending ore car would pull an empty car up the slope. It shows the crude but effective engineering used to extract silver and gold from the rugged mountainsides of the American West. In 1867, Timothy O'Sullivan performed a photographic first in Virginia City's Savage Mine. He was one of the first photographers to shoot deep underground in dark and dangerous conditions. For light, O'Sullivan ignited magnesium wire, a risky technique that could have caused fires. The photograph is a rare document of the brutal working conditions faced by the Comstock miners. In 1873, Timothy O'Sullivan captured the immense scale of Canyon de Chelly, Arizona. These sheer sandstone cliffs rise nearly 400 meters, or 1,200 feet from the canyon floor. Taken during the Wheeler survey, the photo documents the homeland of the Navajo people. They had farmed the fertile canyon floor for centuries and had only returned to it a few years prior to this photograph. In 1872, photographer John K. Hillers captured this vast landscape during the John Wesley Powell expedition. The photo shows two survey members near the Green River, Utah, with the massive Gunnison Butte behind them. The human presence in such an arid scene is not just for rest. It is a compositional technique used to emphasize the immense scale of the American West. In 1875, photographer John K. Hillers captured this community portrait of the Paiute people in Nevada. The photograph was part of John Wesley Powell's ethnographic work, which aimed to document the cultures of native tribes. It was taken at a time when the Paiute were facing immense change, as their way of life was heavily impacted by the westward expansion of the United States. In 1872, John K. Hillers captured this geological moment during the John Wesley Powell expedition. It shows the confluence of the Yampa and Green Rivers in Utah, an area now the heart of Dinosaur National Monument. The massive rock formation the river bends around is called Steamboat Rock. The photograph is a key document from the scientific mapping of one of the West's great canyons. In 1873, Timothy O'Sullivan photographed Inscription Rock at El Morro, New Mexico. For centuries, travelers had carved their names onto this sandstone bluff. This photograph shows a clear inscription from 1726, left by a Spanish official. O'Sullivan's inclusion of a ruler for scale shows he was not just capturing a scene, but documenting an important historical artifact. In 1873, near Fort Defiance, Timothy O'Sullivan captured this scene of Navajo family life. The photograph has profound historical significance, as it was taken just 5 years after the Navajo people returned from their long walk exile. It is more than a portrait. It is a testament to the resilience and the process of rebuilding their lives on their ancestral homelands. In 1872, John K. Hillers ventured deep into the Canyon of Lador on the Green River during the John Wesley Powell expedition. This was one of the most dangerous sections the team faced. On the first expedition in 1869, a boat was wrecked here. The photograph, showing tiny expedition members on the cliffside, documents the canyon's intimidating and massive scale. In 1873, Timothy O'Sullivan photographed the famous White House ruin in Canyon de Chelly. These cliff dwellings were built by the ancestral Pueblo people centuries before O'Sullivan's arrival. The small figures in the photograph are members of the Wheeler Survey, posed to show the incredible scale of the structures. The photograph is an important early document of archaeological record. In 1867, Timothy O'Sullivan photographed the Clarence King Survey's boat, the Nettie, on the Truckee River in Nevada. This sailboat was specially built to map the Great Lakes of the West, like Lake Tahoe and Pyramid Lake, where this river terminates. The photo captures a rarely seen moment of these expeditions, a scene of peaceful, scientific work on the water, contrasting with the harsh surrounding desert. In 1874, Timothy O'Sullivan recorded this rare moment at Pagosa Hot Springs, Colorado. The photograph shows a member of the Wheeler Survey bathing in the springs, which were considered sacred by the Ute people. The photographic plate box on the left reveals that even this personal scene was part of the survey's mission, documenting every aspect of the American West. In 1873, photographer Timothy O'Sullivan documented the city of Santa Fe, New Mexico. Founded in 1610, it is one of the oldest cities in the United States. This photograph captures Santa Fe just before a major transformation, the arrival of the railroad. It shows a traditional adobe city, preserving its final appearance before the railway permanently altered its architecture and culture. In 1871, Timothy O'Sullivan made this portrait of Myman, a Mojave guide and interpreter for the Wheeler Survey. American expeditions heavily relied on the local knowledge of indigenous guides like Myman for survival and navigation. Rather than an anonymous subject, this photograph documents a specific individual who played an essential role in the success of the survey team. This photograph captures the mining town of Alta, Utah, around 1873, during the peak of its silver rush. Located high in Little Cottonwood Canyon, Alta was famous for its incredibly rich silver mines. However, life here was dangerous, with long winters and frequent, deadly avalanches. This summer photograph documents a precarious community clinging to the mountainside. In 1871, photographer Timothy O'Sullivan captured this massive rock formation in Arizona during the Wheeler Survey. Explorers named it Church Mesa because of its shape. The small human figure in the distance was deliberately placed in the composition by O'Sullivan. This technique helped viewers understand the truly immense scale of the landscape of the American West. In 1869, photographer Charles R. Savage captured Big Cottonwood Canyon in Utah. This canyon was vital for the growth of Salt Lake City. The rough road and bridge were part of a network used to haul timber for construction. More importantly, the granite for the famous Salt Lake Temple was also quarried from this very canyon. In 1872, photographer Timothy O'Sullivan documented this unique landscape in the Washakie Badlands of Wyoming. This was part of the work of the Clarence King Survey. These eroded rock spires are known as hoodoos. The survey member standing in the distance serves as a deliberate scale, a technique O'Sullivan frequently used to convey the true size of the geological formations. In 1868, Timothy O'Sullivan took one of the first photographs ever of Shoshone Falls, Idaho. Made during the Clarence King survey, this image introduced the Niagara of the West to America. It captures the untamed Snake River at full power, a sight rarely seen today due to dams. O'Sullivan would return 6 years later to photograph it again. In 1873, Timothy O'Sullivan photographed the rock formation of El Morro in New Mexico. A pool of water at its base made this a desert oasis for centuries. Travelers from ancestral Puebloans to the Spanish to Americans left their mark in over 2,000 inscriptions. This Wheeler survey photograph documented the importance of this historical stone guest book. And so, our journey into the true American West comes to a close. These are no longer just old glass plates. They are echoes from the past, telling of the bravery of explorers and the resilience of the people who called this land home. Which story behind these photos resonated with you the most? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If this video gave you a new perspective, please hit like and share to help spread these authentic histories. And most importantly, subscribe and ring the bell, because our journey of discovery is just getting started. Thank you for watching. This is Old Photo History, and we'll see you in the next frame.